Good morning. Thank you for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word. I'm Barry Bryson. We're continuing our study entitled Three Marys, and we're talking about three Marys from the ministry of Jesus, from his life, through whom we get to know him better. And we're ending our study with Mary of Magdala, Mary Magdalene, and we talked about her at the cross for the crucifixion last time, and at the grave as they put him in the tomb. And today, we want to talk about the account of the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and what they say about Sunday morning. And the one thing that all that all gospel writers agree on, well, they agree on everything, of course, but the one thing that is recorded in all four gospels is that Mary Magdalene is the primary witness. By primary, I mean the first, the original. She's the one who witnesses first the risen Lord. She was there to see the crucifixion. She was there to see him laid in the tomb. She was there to see the tomb was empty. She was there to see the risen Lord first. She was the first person to be given the message, go and tell. It's her. And so if there's one other person that features prominently other than Jesus in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, it's Mary Magdalene. And I wanted to read from just Matthew's account from the Gospels. Let me say this: uh, there are differences, but they're not contradictions. One would not expect that all the women that were going to work on the body of Jesus that day, now that they had time to do it, to prepare him long term for burial, would have come from the same house and arrived at the same time. And so, um, um, there's no problem, harmonizing the gospel accounts. We know there's this order of events that we get in all four gospels. Mary shows up and sees the tomb empty, and then the disciples come to know the tomb is empty. And there is the message of the angels that he is risen. And then there is the message shared. And then there's the encounter with the risen Lord. Um, um, and all of those things are recorded in that orderly fashion in the four Gospels. And so we're going to see that in Matthew's Gospel. I want to look at Matthew's Gospel as well because Matthew's Gospel tells us um, at the end of chapter 27 that although Jesus' disciples, Mary Magdalene included, do not comprehend that what's about to happen is that Jesus is going to raise from the dead, his enemies certainly know that's what he said because they go to Pilate and they say, hey, listen, he said he's going to raise on the third day. What if his apostles or his disciples get in here and take his body and then claim he's raised from the dead? Put a guard on his tomb. To which Pilate replies, "You guys have your own security force. You secure the tomb if you want it secured," which they did. Okay, so Matthew 28 verse 1. Late on the Sabbath, as it began to dawn, toward the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave. And behold, a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of the Lord had descended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone and sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his garment was white as snow. And the guards shook for fear of him and became like dead men. And the angel said to the women, do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who has been crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, just as he said. Come look at the place where he was laying. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. He is going before you into Galilee, and you will see him. Behold, I have told you. And they departed quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to report it to the disciples. Um, and behold, Jesus met them and greeted them, and they came and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. And Jesus said, don't be afraid. Go and take the word to my brethren, and leave for Galilee, and there they shall see me. So anyway, that this is basically what is reported in the other synoptists and what is reported in John as well, although there's a private encounter in John that we read about in John's gospel that we don't have here. I just I want us to notice that they were there. That Mary Magdalene was there. She got up before, well, it was still dark. It's not technically Monday yet. I mean, Sunday yet. It's still the Sabbath when she gets up, but she's got to get there by the time the sun has arisen so she can start tending to her Lord and keeping her responsibility. Preparing a body for burial is an intimate thing, and it was then too. It would have made her unclean to the Jews. Doesn't matter to her. Um, she wants to be there. She thinks prepare the body of her Lord to stay right there in the tomb. And one imagines she would visit that tomb quite often, and she's there. She's there to do it. Where are the male disciples? Well, they ain't there. She's there, and the women are the first to see Jesus, and particularly Mary Magdalene is the first to see Jesus, and it just is so meaningful. It's meaningful on one level because women were not allowed to give testimony in court, not with the Jews, not with the Greeks, not with the Romans. And so to make a woman your primary witness to anything is not something you would choose to do if you were making this up yourself. The fact that the women, and particularly Mary Magdalene, is the primary witness, the primary source of information, is evidence that the Bible is true. Because if you were making this up, you wouldn't make it up that way. But it's important as well because it's personal. And we're going to see how personal next time. Next time we'll be in John chapter 20. Thank you so much for joining me for another 5 good minutes with the Word.